Welcome to Awaken Your Shadow, and to the next step in your spiritual journey. You didn't arrive here by accident. You were called by the version of yourself that has been hiding in the refuse of a life that is about to change in ways you can only begin to imagine. The part of you buried beneath old names, old fears, old agreements, old wounds you learned to call personality. That hidden self has been writing the story of your destiny from the shadows. Not always with your consent, not always with your awareness, but by its own fierce impulse to meet the needs of your body, your mind, your spirit, and the system of control you were born into. That part of your life is over. You're here because you understand something that eludes most people for life, even while it fills their minds with worry, fear, guilt, shame, and self-doubt. You understand that the best part of you has not arrived yet. It has been waiting. Behind the anxiety, behind the craving, behind the anger, behind the ache to be chosen, behind the dream you keep postponing because some old voice convinced you that wanting more was dangerous. This is the beginning of the shadow work journey. Most people think shadow work means fighting the darkness inside them, but what if the part of you you've been trying to kill is the part of you that's been trying to come home? This channel is built around the book Awaken Your Shadow, a new map for spiritual growth, self-mastery, and inner transformation. Not the soft, sanitized version, not the just think positive version, not the spiritual tourism where you collect revelations, but stay the same person. This is shadow work as integration, and your guide through this work is Seth Czerepak, author of Awaken Your Shadow, founder of somatic axiology, the man now known as the Red Neo. But that name was not chosen as a brand. It was earned as a scar. It came through decades of watching the machinery behind the curtain reveal itself, gear by gear, illusion by illusion, wound by wound. Seth saw how the Matrix does not only live in governments, algorithms, institutions, and screens. It lives in the body, in the flinch, in the apology you make before you even speak, in the way scarcity teaches desire to crawl, in the way rejection teaches love to beg, in the way shame turns your own nervous system into a prison guard. He saw it in poverty, in alienation, in rebellion, in spiritual warfare, in ambition, in business, in betrayal, in the strange ache of getting what the world calls success and discovering that old ghosts can still follow you into brighter rooms. He saw it through years of physical limitation, when the body became a locked gate and life seemed to move on the other side of the glass. He learned that pain can shrink a man's world until his whole future seems to fit inside one breath. And he learned that the soul still has a command deeper than the body's collapse. Stand, rise, move, remember. He clawed his way back through mind, will, prayer, discipline, and the unkillable fire of a self that refused to let limitation become Lord. And during the writing of Awaken Your Shadow, he passed through the final furnace, the kind that does not merely break your heart, it breaks the false self that was using your heart as a hiding place. Love became a mirror. The mirror became a blade. The blade became a doorway. He learned that compassion without sovereignty can keep a man standing in a burning house, praying for the fire to become warmth. He learned that real tenderness can exist inside distorted architecture. That devotion can become witness. That heartbreak can become initiation. That the person, dream, or identity you once wanted to build your future around can become the altar, where the last false version of you is sacrificed. That is where the Red Neo was earned, not by escaping the Matrix, by seeing its code in the places most people never look, in the wound, in the relationship, in the money pattern, in the body, in the addiction, in the ambition, in the craving to be seen, in the old story that keeps using your own life as evidence against your destiny. Awaken Your Shadow came from that fire, from collapse, from resurrection, from the battlefield where body, mind, spirit, love, pain, and destiny collide. And that is why this channel exists. Because your life has its own machinery, You feel it when you know the relationship is draining you, but you keep reaching for one more sign. You feel it when you open your phone to send the message, then swallow the truth and call it peace. You feel it when money comes in and disappears like water through a cracked vessel. You feel it when success should feel like a rival, but instead feels like standing in a decorated cage. You feel it when you keep choosing people who cannot see you, then punish yourself for feeling invisible. You feel it when your body says no before your mouth does. You feel it when your dream keeps tapping on the inside of your ribs, and you keep pretending you don't hear it. That is the shadow speaking, not as your enemy, as the exiled intelligence of your own design. Most people have been taught that the shadow is bad, something to hide, suppress, conquer, exercise, overcome. But that is the lie that keeps people divided against themselves. Because the shadow is not merely the monster under the bed, it is also the child you abandoned there. It is the guardian who grew claws because nobody came when you cried. It is the lover who became desperate when love felt scarce. It is the ruler who became passive because saying no once cost too much. It is the messenger who became false because your real voice was punished. It is the witness who went silent because the world kept bribing you to forget what you saw. Your shadow is not your enemy. Your shadow is your higher self in exile. It is the part of you that still carries power, desire, grief, instinct, anger, love, discernment, ambition, and holy fire, but has not yet been brought into the light, matured, and given its rightful place. Your fear, your desire, your anger, your need for love, your hunger for freedom, your craving to be seen. None of these are the enemy. They are exiled powers waiting to be matured into your higher self. That is what shadow work really is. Not self-improvement, not spiritual performance, not collecting insights like postcards from a place you never actually live. This is integration. This is transmutation. This is descent before ascent. This is the journey from the false self you were trained to perform to the self that was waiting underneath the costume. On this channel, we'll explore the book chapter by chapter. We'll walk through the shadow self, the higher self, the three awakenings, somatic axiology, the seven selves, spiritual predators, the matrix, natural law, the witness, the ungovernable soul. But we'll also go deeper. We will not keep this work trapped in the monastery of theory. We'll break down shadow work themes hidden inside songs, movies, iconic characters, myths, relationships, ambition, money, anxiety, self-sabotage, faith, and everyday life. Because your shadow doesn't only show up in meditation, it shows up in the text you don't send, the boundary you didn't set, the dream you've been postponing, the person you become around people who can't see the real you. You did not find this channel by accident. You came here not to be entertained but liberated, liberated by the self that cannot be bridled, the self that cannot be ruled, the self that refuses to live one more day in a story that was never yours. This is the journey you'll be taking as you listen to Awaken Your Shadow. Subscribe to this channel now, and listen next to the prologue of a book that you will always remember as the boundary between the life you've learned from and the life you are about to begin.